Hello everyone. Today I'm making a new movie. This is the last movie for chapter 1. That means that this is the last movie that we will finish chapter 1. Okay, so let's go to chapter 1. Last movie we finished by this slide. That's why this movie will continue from that slide. So this slide is incentive principle. Okay, from movie 1 and movie 2 we were looking at, or we studied some concepts, principles, pitfalls, and now we go to the third principle for chapter 1. The third principle of chapter 1 is incentive principle. Okay, so what is incentive principle? Incentive principle is a principle or a statement that's saying that a person or a firm or a society, a country, a city, a province is more likely to make an action if its benefit rate increasing, and less likely to make an action if its cost rises or increases. In short, incentive principle, in short, incentives matters. It's involved with incentives. For example, yes, look at this table. Incentives are central to people's choice. Okay, incentives are central, are fundamental, basic to people's choices. Okay, looking at benefits. Actions are more likely to take or to be taken if their benefits increase or rise. Okay, so means that when you do one action and you think that or you analyze that the benefit from doing that action increasing, you will take this. Okay, you will take this action. However, if the cost of doing that action increase or rise, you will do less or you will take less. So based on incentive principle, you will take one action, become more and more, take more action. First you will take one step, and maybe you increase the other step, and then you increase the other step if its benefits, if the benefits from taking that action increase or rise. However, you will take one action, become less and less and less when the cost of doing that action become increasing or rise. Okay, that's why this is about incentive principle. Incentive principle is a principle that tells you to look at benefit, to look at cost. But normally we don't compare between cost and benefit, like cost benefit in principle or cost benefit incentive. Those principle or incentive instruct us that or tell us that to compare. Okay, to compare. But incentive principle not comparing between cost and benefit, just by looking at benefit and looking at cost, not comparing. If you think or if you analyze that the benefit going up or increasing, okay, take more. However, if the cost going up or the cost take its action going up or increasing, you take less and less this action. Okay, this is about cost. This is about incentive principle. In economics we have model, yes, and when we apply a model we always use a principle or use concepts or maybe statements. So in this case we have two economic statements. First, normative economic statement. Okay, this is normative economic statements. Normative economics are the principles or statements. Those are subjective statements of opinion. Okay, so normative economics statements are subjective statement of opinion, or I can say that normative economics are subjective statement of opinion rather than a fact that can be tested by looking at the available evidence. That's why if you use normative economic statement or economic principles, that means you based on your idea, based on your view to say something, or to judge something, or to value add something. Okay, it means that you don't test it or you don't analyze it based on a real or logical model and using a available information or evidence to test. Yeah, it is just based on your idea, your knowledge, or your experience, and you try to say something. This is a normative economic statement or principles. It is a view, it is a viewpoint or it is an idea that others may disagree with. Okay, if you use normative economics principle or statement to evaluate a thing about or to say something about or to conclude something, maybe what you said or what you conclude some other or some people may not agree with you. Okay, because you are not using a logical model to test by using available information or data. For example, the government should increase the minimum wage to reduce the poverty. Should increase. Unemployment is more harmful than inflation. Okay, maybe some of you, when you say this statement, some people agree with you, but some people may not agree with you because they have the other idea, the other opinion. The retirement age should be raised to 65. Normally 60 people at employees or workers at age 60 they start to retire, or they retired, stop or no more work for them. But in this case, retirement age should be raised to 65 to combat. What does it mean to combat? To reduce or to drop down, to combat the effects of our aging population. Aging population, the many people, the country, for example, aging population country refer to country that have more older people. That's why more older people, they're not working, but they need to spend for food for their life, their daily life. If they are not working, they cannot earn. If they cannot earn, but they spend, so where the money that they can spend? So that means the younger people, they need to work hard in order to earn more money to provide to older people. That's why, for example, Japan is a aging population country. The country with a huge amount of older people but less amount of younger people. That's why younger people need to work harder in order to feed, in order to take care of the older people. But in this case, in order to reduce the burden of younger people work, that's why older people should continue to work more many years. But this is the idea. People are the right to pay the taxes for their civilization society. Yes, some people maybe agree with this one, but the other people may not agree. For example, the poor people, because this is saying about people mean all people. Poor people, they may not agree with this one because they don't have ability to pay tax. That's why in overall they think that people are the right to pay taxes for their civilization country. Okay, normative economics again. I continue. Cost-benefit principle is an example of a normative economic principle or statement. One that provides a guideline about how we should behave. Okay, how we should behave, how we should do, how we should work. Okay, so cost-benefit principle is an example of normative economic statement or economic principles. For example, according to the cost-benefit principle, we should ignore sunk cost when making decisions about our future. So when we make, based on cost-benefit principle, when we make decision for our future implementation, or when we make plan for future, we should ignore, we should not care about sunk cost. Okay, so what is sunk cost, or what are sunk costs? Sunk cost is a cost that cannot be recovered at the moment a decision must be made. It means that the cost you paid and you cannot get it back. Okay, the cost you already paid and you have no chance to get it back, to recover it back. That's why this is called sunk cost. For example, a company spends $18,000 on a marketing study to see if its new product will succeed or not. They spend this amount for the marketing people in order to study or in order to test. After study or after test, the study concludes that this new product will not be profitable. That means fail. The study found that the result failed. So at this point, the amount of money, 18,000, is a sunk cost. That means the company paid this amount for nothing. The company had no chance to get this amount of money back, because this product failed. That's why this product failed. The company will look for the other product, or maybe they look for a new product, not this product, the other new product, not this product. That's why this amount is lost, cannot get it back. Okay, the other one is positive economics principle or statement. Refer to principles or statements that are objective statements. So positive economics are objective statements that can be tested, amended, or rejected by referring to the available evidence. So positive economic statements, we need to test it before we say something, before we conclude, before we summarize. We need to test. Okay, we need to test, amend, or reject by referring according to available evidence, data, or information that we have. They that mean positive economics. They deal with objective explanation and the testing and rejecting the theories. Okay, testing the theory. Maybe theory has made many years ago, or many decades ago. Despite those the theories are made long time ago, not good to apply in today world or current time world. Why? Because those theory made long time ago, they fit to those time, not the time. That's why based on positive economic, maybe this theory not no more used because it's not fit to our current situation. Why no more use? Because after testing, the result coming, maybe we can reject. Okay, for example, the decrease in income tax will make employees to get higher living standard. What does it mean? If they earn money with the work in order to earn salary, if they pay tax less on salary, they have more amount of money. That's why income after tax still more. If income after tax still more because they pay less tax, they can buy more goods services to use to consume in their house. That's why their house tend to be bigger, or their house has many goods for them to use. That's why they are happy. So that standard living will be higher. The COVID-19 makes many countries slow down economic prosperity. Sure, you can check. Many countries, including United States or some European countries, their economics drop down. Some country they close the country. Okay, no more export import, no activities. That's why economic growth drop down sharply, or maybe yes, especially airline. You can see airline, drop down very sharply, and airline is one industry that earn a lot of money for the country. But because of COVID-19, most airlines tend to be bankrupt or maybe crisis. A rise in average temperatures will increase the demand for sunscreen products. So when the weather become hotter and hotter, if you want to go out, you need to apply sunscreen on your skin. Otherwise, your skin will burn. Okay, your skin will burn. So it's not good. Incentive principle is an example of positive economic principle, as it explains that the relevant costs and benefits usually help us to predict how people will behave. For example, when the prices of food go up sharply very sharply or strongly, people will make it by themselves and will reduce it out. Okay, so when the prices of food go up sharply, that means increase too much, so people will not go out more. That's why they reduce going out for eating. However, they will make food by themselves in their house. Okay, the other point, yes, we already from movie 1 we already we were looking at the definition of economics, right? And remember that below the definition of economics, I had two. One is microeconomic and one is macroeconomic. I also said something about micro and macro at that movie, but now we can looking at more detail. This is microeconomics. Microeconomics is I can say that is economic that study of individual choice under scarcity and its implications for the behavior of prices and quantities in individual markets. So microeconomics study about individual choice. individual choice under scarcity and its implications for behavior of prices, quantities in individual markets. Okay, individual choice, individual markets. What does it mean, individual markets? For example, I can say that education, private, not public, not owned by government, because owned by government cannot say about market because non-profit. But when we say about market, we refer to activity performed in order to earn profit. For example, education, private education is one market. Sugar is the other one market. Food is the other one market. House cleaning service is the other one market. So I can say that overall I can say private education market, sugar market, food market, house cleaning market, banking market, transportation market, something like this. That's why every market they need to make their own plan, their own choice based on scarcity. Okay, every market they need to make their own choice based on scarcity. Microeconomics consider the topics such as cost of production for sugar, cost of production for food, cost of production for house cleaning service, cost of production of private education. Another one, demand for products, demand for sugar, demand for food, demand for house cleaning service, demand for education. Supply of products, supplies of sugar, supplies of food, supplies of house cleaning service, but supply and cost of production relate to each other. Okay, relate to each other. We will see this relationship in next chapter. The other one, microeconomics also consider the topic of price and quantity goods services in the market. For example, the quantities of drinking waters and the price of drinking water in the market. Okay, the quantities of classes in one university or the quantities of classes all university and the price of education for each level. Okay, this is micro. Macroeconomic study of performance of national economies, the whole nation, the whole countries, the whole province, the whole city, the whole region, the whole continent, or the whole world. Okay, and the policies that governments use to try to improve that performance. So when we're talking about the performance of national economies, so normally one country have one government, okay, that we call general government or national government. However, when we're talking about one country, we have sub level of national that in our country we call province. So every province they also have their own government that we call local governments. Okay, so local governments, general government or national governments. Or when talking about region, for example, ASEAN no one government control for all 10 countries. ASEAN is like not really the government, it's like a community that they have a management team that they play as a government. Management team ASEAN, they play as a government, they decide to make plan, they make policy for all ASEAN members to implement. For example, export import, the policy for export import. So committee, those committee that come from all 10 ASEAN country, they as a member and they discuss in order to make a export import or trade policy among ASEAN. Okay, so in this case, region also as well ASEAN or continent, they also are Asia, for example, they have so not really a government for Asia, but it's like committee that or like association, Asian association committee, something like this. that come from the member come from each country in Asia, and then they work together in order to set a rule or policy among Asia countries to implement and to do interaction between each country to country, trade or politic or diplomatic or maybe military or something, a change culture, something like this. When we study about macroeconomics, when we study macroeconomics, normally we focus on the inflation, unemployment, economic growth, productivity, export, import, monetary, inflation rate. Oh, sorry, not inflation only here. Interest rate, exchange rate, something like this. So these are the topics that we will study based on macroeconomics. Macroeconomics consider about monetary policy, fiscal policy, trade policies. Okay, so this is about macroeconomics. Previous one here about micro. Micro, as I said in first movie, micro is small size, macro is a larger size. So micro is small size. Micro cover only household, firms work together. That's why household play as buyer in the market, and firm play as supplier in the market. That's why the market consists of buyers and sellers or demander, suppliers. This is micro. When we're talking about macro, not only buyers, suppliers, but also government, because government set some policies in order to manage a country, in order to make country perform well or improvement well. Okay, scope of macroeconomic are different. Yes, I said already, scope of macro and microeconomic different. In terms of macro is a larger scope, a larger size. Micro is a small scope or small size. However, both are trying to predict behavior that is based on scarcity. Yes, because microeconomic comes from economics, macroeconomic also comes from economics, and economic is about scarcity. Clear thinking about economic problems will always account for trade-offs. Okay, did I say something about trade-off in movie 1? Yes, I did. I thought that, or I think that you got my point from movie 1 about trade-off. What does it mean, or how can we use trade-off? Having one more good thing usually means having less the other good. This is trade-off. Okay. Naturalism, economic naturalism, using your insight from economics to make sense of observation from everyday life. This is naturalism. Learning economic principles enables us to see ordinary details of life in a new light. Firms or societies looking for difference in costs and benefits. Okay, firms looking for cost, and country, government also looking for the cost, but different side, different aspect. This is summarized. Chapter 1 we have studied, up to now we have studied three principles: scarcity principle, cost benefit principle, and we just finished the last principle is incentive principle. Okay, this is not homework, but I think it's much better if you can answer these questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, there are 13 questions, but not really 13 question marks. There are 13 questions, but more question marks. If all of you or most of you can answer these questions without looking materials, textbook, or watch movie to answer. That means you tend to close textbook, not movie. Try to use your memory in order to try to use your memory, try to use your understanding, try to use your concept that you get from my movies in order to answer this 13 question. If you can answer correctly, it means that you got the points from chapter 1. But if you cannot answer all of this or most of the question, it means that you get less or you get nothing from chapter 1. That's why you need to spend extra time to watch, to study again and again in order to get concepts or points from chapter 1. Okay, so this is for your work. 13 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not reading this for you. Maybe you can see this question on YouTube. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so I stop right now for this one, and then I will make the other movie that explaining about appendix, working with equations, graphs and tables. Okay, so this at the end of chapter 1. This is the third movie for chapter 1. I will drop it on YouTube, and once again, up to now, I observe that some of you not yet subscribe my channel, and when you watched, most of you did not click like. But I know that based on Telegram, some of you comment that you cannot comment. I don't know why you cannot comment below the movie on YouTube. I think everyone can comment, but why you cannot? I don't know why. Okay, try to review your YouTube channel, YouTube account. What happened? Maybe you not yet having YouTube account. If you have not yet have YouTube account, you need to have one. Okay, because it's much better. It's much better because every movie that you want, for example, you go to visit somewhere, or maybe you have party and you take movie. This movie maybe big space, big gigabyte. I mean the space is many gigabyte. It's hard to put in computer or maybe hard drive. It's better to upload into YouTube because you can watch it again anywhere, any place. Just a phone or just a laptop. Maybe you don't need to. Sometimes you don't need laptop, your phone. Okay, go to your channel and see the movie that you took from many years ago about any event that you attend. Okay, that's why again, the one who not yet subscribe, doing subscribe, and when you watch, don't forget to click like and comment. Okay, so now it's time for you to watch and study, and don't forget there are 13 questions waiting for you to answer. Okay, so now it's time for you to work.